Good evening. Thanks for joining us on India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines we're tracking for you tonight. The Adani Group stocks rout extends for the third session, wiping out more than 5.6 lakh crore rupees in market cap. Those stocks come off their lows. Adani accuses Hindenburg of securities fraud, calling the company the Madoff of Manhattan. Hindenburg hits back, saying fraud cannot be obfuscated by nationalism.
We are supremely confident that from an institutional perspective, we are there, but there will be some pullback in the retail.
The CFO of the Adani Group remains confident that their 20,000 crore rupee follow-on public offer will go through despite the turbulence. The Abu Dhabi royal family's investment firm says it will invest $400 million in the FPO. LIC tells CNBC-TV18 it is evaluating Adani's situation for any further investment-related decisions. The group has seen its investment value in Adani Group stocks decline by more than 23,700 crore rupees in the last three sessions. Stock markets recover in the last hour, ending in the green after a volatile session. The Sensex gains over 150 points, the Nifty up nearly 50, the mid-cap index ends in the red. Infrastructure major L&T reports a steady Q3 even as margins miss estimates. Order book grows by over 20%. Oil major BPCL reports a mixed bag. Profits and margins beat estimates, but revenue disappoints. The government holds an all-party meeting on the eve of the budget session of Parliament. The economic survey will be presented tomorrow, the budget on the 1st of February. India's top CEOs expect the thrust on infra development to continue this union budget. As per the CNBC-TV18 FICCI Dhruva budget poll, a majority of CEOs seek rationalization of income tax slabs and demand minimum tax compliances. Most CEOs feel that India is better placed to face an impending global recession. The verdict is split on demand outlook for the next fiscal. Automobile giants Renault and Nissan restructured their decade-long alliance. The new arrangement will see Renault's shareholding in Nissan reduced from 43% to 15%. Curtains come down on the Congress Bharat Jodo Yatra in Srinagar after a distance of over 4,000 kilometers across 12 states, 2 union territories in close to 5 months. Opposition leaders Omar Abdullah, Mehbooba Mufti and DMK leader Tiruchi Siva attend the rally. The star cast of Pathan addresses the media as the movie continued to smash box office records. Shah Rukh Khan says he wants all his films to release with love. As per reports, the film has grossed over 500 crores worldwide in just 5 days. Well, straight to the day's market action. We saw the markets recover in the last hour of trade, ending higher. The Nifty and the Sensex rose 0.25%. In the broader markets, though, the Nifty Bank recovered 2.5% from its low, ending the day mildly in the green. Meanwhile, the Adani Group stocks have erased a market cap of nearly 6 lakh crore rupees just in the last 3 days. We'll get to the Adani story in just a second, but in the currency market, the rupee depreciated 10 paise, opening at 81.69 against the dollar. However, the currency did recover slightly, ending the day at 81.59 against the greenback. Significant foreign outflows weighing on sentiment. And from currencies to commodities, crude oil prices fell, giving up earlier gains. Looming interest rate hikes by major central banks and signs of a strong Russian export have offset the rising Middle East tension over a drone attack in Iran and hopes of Chinese demand. But the big story tonight, the Adani Group stock saw some wild swings as they remain under pressure for the third session in a row. The group has seen its market cap erode by 5.6 lakh crore rupees after US-based short seller Hindenburg raised several red flags. While stocks of companies like Adani Green and Adani Transmission continue to see a sell-off, Adani Enterprises, ACC and Ambuja saw a pullback, ending the day in positive territory. But as we pointed out, huge volatility. The Adani Group, meanwhile, has accused Hindenburg of securities fraud and called the research firm Madoffs of Manhattan. Hindenburg has hit back, saying fraud cannot be obfuscated by nationalism. And as the war averts escalate, the 20,000 crore rupee follow-on public offer from the Adani Group has completed 2 days. The overall subscription is at 3%. The QIB portion is yet to see any major bids. H&I portion is subscribed 4%, retail at 4%, and the employee portion has been subscribed at 13%. Now, IHC, which is the investment firm of the Abu Dhabi royal family, has pledged to invest $400 million in the FPO. This will be the second investment by IHC into the Adani Group. Last year, IHC invested $2 billion into Adani Group's green-focused companies. Now, the CFO of Adani Group has remained confident that the FPO will go through despite the kind of volatility that we are seeing. Speaking with CNBC-TV18, Jogeshindra Singh admitted that there could be some pullback from retail investors, but he is confident of bids from institutional investors. He also said the group's total debt is at $30 billion, of which $9 billion is owed to Indian banks. Take a look.
We are confident that on the institutional side, that the entire issue is from based on our discussion, roadshow meetings, etc., will be fully subscribed, and that's why we clarified the rumors were going on. So we clarified on Saturday night that that the FPO will proceed on current pricing and on the current timelines. So we are supremely confident that from an institutional perspective, we are there, but there will be some pullback in the retail given such decision pricing differential and the volatility. FPO will go ahead on the same conditions that we launched. Gross aggregate debt position in the group is just about 30 billion, of which $4 billion we hold in cash, approximately. Just under $4 billion we hold in cash. Because the way the domestic bank is, there was some sanction limit. So if I just go that on a sanction basis, it will be about 9 billion. The first thing is that 0% of Ambuja shares are pledged. What happens is that under SEBI's regulation, SEBI just has a heavier regulation, which is a good regulation, which is simply that please report encumbrance. So if we say that we will hold 63%, under SEBI's strict reading of the, it is considered encumbrance.
Well, that is the CFO of the Adani Group, confident that the FPO will go through. Now, Life Insurance Corporation, or LIC, which is a major investor in the Adani Group, has told CNBC-TV18 it is evaluating the situation for any further investment-related decisions. India's largest institutional investors lost more than 23,700 crore rupees of its investment value in the Adani Group so far. Yash is standing by with more. Yash.
Well, Shireen, today some of the Adani Group stocks ended in the green, like Adani Enterprise, ACC, Ambuja, Adani Ports. But despite that, LIC's equity portfolio, as far as the Adani Group companies are concerned, that saw a dip, a further dip, if I can say that. Value of LIC's investment in the Adani Group companies have dipped by about 30%, or 23,700 crore rupees. In the last 3 trading days itself. As far as the investment book is concerned, LIC has seen maximum investment erosion in companies like Adani Total. That stands at about 10,160 crore rupees. That is followed by Adani Transmission and Adani Ports. Value of LIC's investment as of today's end of day stood at about 57,613 crore rupees. This compares to 81,348 crore rupees, which was the value at the end of Tuesday's trading session. Now, we spoke to our sources in LIC. In fact, LIC on record has told CNBC-TV18 that the total purchase value of LIC's holding in Adani Group companies is 30,000 crore rupees, which means the mark-to-market gain which LIC is still sitting on stands at about 27,000 crore rupees. LIC also told CNBC-TV18 that they have an exposure of 6,000 crore rupees to Adani bonds, but against that 6,000 crore rupees, they have assets and securities worth 7,500 crore rupees. Clarifying their stand further, they have said that credit rating of all the Adani debt securities held by LIC are AA and above, and Adani's total exposure as compared to LIC's AUM is just 0.97%. One very important statement which came from LIC in our conversation was that they are a major shareholder in Adani Group companies, and they will evaluate the current scenario which is playing out in Adani Group companies before taking any further investment decision in all of these group companies.
Yash, many thanks for joining us. That is the latest on Adani and LIC. In earnings corner, it was a steady quarter for L&T. A strong order inflow offset weak margins. Revenues for the quarter in line with estimates. However, net profit and EBITDA has missed street expectations. The management has said the performance was aided by improved execution in infrastructure project segment and continued growth momentum in its IT portfolio. However, margins were hit by continued cost pressure. That's L&T for you. And staying with earnings, Bharat Petroleum, that's BPCL, has reported a mixed bag with profits and margins ahead of street estimates. Revenue has missed the mark. The company reported a net profit of nearly 2,000 crore rupees versus a loss of 300 crore rupees last quarter. Tech Mahindra reported Q3 numbers, largely beating street estimates. Profits at nearly 1,300 crore rupees on target. Dollar revenue at $1.6 billion, marginally beating estimates. Dollar revenue growth was just under 2% on a sequential basis. Margins at 12% compared to a CNBC-TV18 poll, which had projected margins at 11.8%.
We begin the calendar year 2023 and the quarter 3 with a special milestone of enterprise verticals reporting $1 billion quarterly revenue. Our BPO business continues to be the largest and the fastest growing business, called a slow quarter, a furlough quarter. I think I'm very happy with the Tech Mahindra quarter 3 performance.
Well, that's Tech Mahindra's CP Gurnani. It is the eve of the budget session of Parliament. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi convened an all-party meeting to discuss issues that members of Parliament intend to raise during the session. 37 leaders from 27 parties participated in the meeting. Opposition parties raised issues like the Adani matter and the ban on the BBC documentary. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the Union budget. That's the big day on the 1st of February. That's Wednesday. And Chief Economic Advisor Anantha Nageshwaran will table the economic survey tomorrow, a day ahead of the union budget. This year's survey will bear the full imprint of Nageshwaran. He took charge just a day before tabling last year's survey, which was mainly penned by the current member of the Economic Advisory Council, Sanjeev Sanyal. It will also be the first detailed commentary on the economy by North Bloc since the war in Ukraine. Sapna standing by with the hits and misses of the previous economic survey. Sapna.
The 2023 economic survey comes at a time when the world is vastly different from the projections made in the previous survey, thanks to the war in Ukraine. The survey had projected India to grow by 8 to 8.5%. This was based on a set of assumptions like orderly withdrawal of liquidity by central banks, oil prices at $70 to $75 a barrel, easing global supply chain disruptions, among others. 1 year later, and after the war in Ukraine, India's growth projections stand revised downwards by 1 to 1.5%. Oil prices currently range between $80 to $85 a barrel after having surged to 115 levels last year. Global inflation has spiked and central banks have aggressively raised interest rates. Plus, global supply chains have been battered, particularly for food grains and fertilizers. The one critical element but the survey projection may still stand is the inflation outlook. The survey had warned on India needing to be wary on a possible surge in global inflation, especially due to high energy prices. As compared to 5.6% CPI in December 2021, inflation currently stands at 5.72%, thanks to continuous rate hikes by the RBI to cool prices, which has yielded results. The survey also noted a current account deficit of up to 3% is tolerable for the economy. Today, the current account deficit has surged to a 9-year high at 4.4% of the GDP, while forex reserves are lower from the peak by around $70 billion as of December 2022. In the CA's own words, a 7% growth handle for this year is very good, as the world is facing a polycrisis. Uncertainty is the unknown unknown, and there are a lot of unknowns right now. We should be prepared for unexpected events and not be adventuristic. With this backdrop, it may just be possible that the FY24 growth could be projected between 6 to 7% in the 2023 survey.
Sapna, many thanks for joining us. Yes, and you can catch the economic survey right here on CNBC TV18 starting noon. We will bring you the fine print of what the survey says on growth and, more importantly, if it has any cues on what the budget on the 1st of February may deliver. Now, the continuation of infra thrust to boost to the manufacturing ecosystem and minimizing tax compliances. CNBC TV18 in partnership with Dhruva Advisors and FICCI polled over 100 CEOs ahead of the 1st February union budget to get a pulse check on what India Inc. wants and hopes for. Now, most CEOs expect India's growth story to remain relatively strong and see only a moderate impact of an impending global recession. When asked about what should be the overarching theme this budget, infra spending topped the list. Manufacturing boost and consumption demand. Close to half of the respondents feel that the ease of doing business reforms would help boost the manufacturing ecosystem. I spoke with the top FICCI office bearers and tax expert and our budget editor Dinesh Kanabar on the findings of the India Inc. CNBC TV18 budget poll.
There's one particular thing which the government can certainly double down on: manufacturing. is looking at the concessional rate for new units, manufacturing units. Yeah, the sunset period ends at about March of 24. And this is a great moment for the country to accelerate the share of manufacturing as a percentage of GDP, is to bring the foreign supply chains to Indian shores. And this perhaps concessional rate of tax, it would be good if the government could extend it by another 5 years.
A lot has been done already. As we look at the tax structure, PLI schemes, policies like the National Logistics Policy, these are all steps in the right direction. I think the key thrust now is changing our mindset from actions to drive manufacturing in India to actions to make India the manufacturing hub for the world.
It has to be a growth-oriented budget. So at some point, in a manner of speaking, they have to look at providing some boost to consumption. But I do believe that there is certainly some scope to provide a little bit of relief, especially to the middle class, and provide that little boost to consumption.
To my mind, that the inflation and everything that goes with it, there is a need to relook at the threshold level. I am aware of government's own reluctance to increase the threshold limit because then people don't file returns and they can't be tracked, but there is a need to relook at it. There is a need to relook at the middle rate so that there is a lot more money which can be left in the middle class.
And you can catch the findings of the CNBC-TV18 Ficky Dhruva CEO budget poll at 9:30 p.m. as we count down to the union budget right here on CNBC-TV18. Well, ahead of the budget, Timsy Jaipuria joins us now to take a look at the government's tax calculations. Timsy, what's the government banking on?
With all eyes and ears on 1st of February, waiting for Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to lay down in front of the Parliament House the Union Budget for 2023, the silver lining giving government the much-desired cushion to deal with the expenditures is the tax revenue. Here's a look at where we are in terms of tax targets and how much has been achieved so far. To begin with direct taxes, even as critics had termed tax targets to be way too modest and below expectations, and government trying to keep low due to global uncertainties, despite this, direct taxes seems to be performing in the best possible growth. Government had pegged direct tax collections for the current fiscal at 14.20 lakh crore rupees. Similarly, the elephant's share on the indirect taxes coming via GST, that is the central GST receipts, and centre's share of compensation cess was pegged to be at 7.80 lakh crore rupees for the current fiscal. And now, here is a look as to where we are on both direct and indirect taxes side. On the direct tax side first, collections from the personal income tax was estimated at 7 lakh crore rupees, and as per the official data till November 2022, the collections are at 4.38 lakh crore rupees, which is almost 63% target achieved. Next comes the corporate tax collections. This too has been doing extremely well for the government, and as against a target of 7.20 lakh crore rupees, government till November has collected 61% of the target, which is around 4.38 lakh crores. On indirect tax front, when we see the central GST collections, government had set a budget estimate of 6.60 lakh crore rupees. Out of this, 71% has already come in government coffers by November. And same is the story on the compensation cess side, where 69% of the estimated 1.20 lakh crore rupees has been already credited to the government's account in the first 8 months of the fiscal itself. But on the service tax side, there seem to be some disparity. Only 20% of the estimated 2,000 crore rupees has been achieved till November 2022. On the union excise front too, the collections are about 51% of estimated 3.35 lakh crore rupees. And on the customs side, the duty collections, which were pegged at 2.13 lakh crore rupees, government has minted a good 66% of the target at about 1.41 lakh crore rupees. With such being the tax mop-up, it is estimated that the revised estimates to be presented on the coming Thursday are likely to be satisfactory, but also healthy, and could be much beyond the estimates. Let's see what Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has to finally present.
Well, that certainly is the silver lining, isn't it, Timsy? Many thanks for joining us. And of course, as always, stay tuned to CNBC TV18 on Budget Day. Our budget editors will analyse the budget fine print, starting with the man who was in the hot seat for the last year's budget, former Finance and Revenue Secretary Tarun Bajaj, our budget editor Deepak Parekh, Sajid Chinoy, Ramdeo Agarwal, Dinesh Kanabar, Ashok Vadva. They will all don the hat of our budget editors right here on CNBC TV18. Of course, we will have many more influential voices, opinion makers joining us through the course of the day. Well, time for us to head to a short break, but on the other side, curtains come down on the Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra in Srinagar after almost 5 months. Stay tuned for a special report. In a setback to the Jalan Kalrock Consortium, the Supreme Court today dismissed the consortium's appeal against the NCLAT order dated the 21st of October. The consortium had sought a stay on the order that had directed them to pay PF and gratuity dues in full to erstwhile workmen and employees of Jet Airways. JKC in its appeal had told the court that the additional burden of over 200 crore rupees will jeopardize the resolution plan. It had argued if NCLAT order is not stayed, JKC as well as Jet will suffer irreparable loss and injury, leading to the forced liquidation of the airline. The board of the Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail has inducted Ananya Birla and Aryaman Vikram Birla, the children of Kumaramangalam Birla, as directors. In a statement, the company said the board believes that ABFRL will benefit from their new age insights and business acumen. Shares of Vodafone Idea rose 10% in trade today ahead of the company's board meeting tomorrow. The board is likely to consider the preferential issue of OCDs to telecom infrastructure provider ATC. Ashmit joins us now with more details. Ashmit, take us to what's on the agenda.
Well, a crucial day for Vodafone Idea tomorrow. That's when the board of directors of Vodafone Idea will be meeting to decide on the subject of issuance of OCDs or optionally convertible debentures as payment for the dues concerning ATC, the tower company. Now, if approved, this would be the second time the OCDs are being issued. The first time, the OCD issuance did not fructify. The reason being is that the basis for that OCD issuance was that the government will convert its dues into equity, which did not happen, and therefore the first round of OCDs had failed. This would be the second round if approved by the board of directors. However, it comes at a time which is beginning increasingly ominous for the company. Number one, the telecom minister has clarified in as many words that any conversion of government dues into equity will only happen once the promoters infuse further funds, and there's been complete silence from the promoter groups on whether or not they will be putting in any more money. That's one. The second is the falling subscriber base. Let's keep in mind that Vodafone Idea, even in the midst of all of these issues, is losing subscribers helter-skelter. In fact, just the period between September to November, just these 3 months, they've lost nearly 1 crore subscribers. So that's another concern that's weighing on their minds. And finally, of course, vendor dues. The likes of Indostar have in fact red flagged as a part of their quarterly earnings that increasingly it seems that Vodafone Idea, continuing as a going concern, is looking doubtful. They've not made any payments even as per the revised payment structure, and that going forward they will be accounting for these dues within their balance sheet. So concerns on multiple fronts. The board of directors will have to firefight and discuss ways of raising more money. Back to you.
Ashmit, many thanks for joining us. Curtains down on the Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra in Srinagar after a distance of over 4,000 kilometres across 12 states, 2 union territories in close to 5 months. Congress President Kharge, flanked by Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi and other senior leaders, hoist the tricolour outside the party headquarters. Omar Abdullah, Mehbooba Mufti and DMK leader Tiruchi Siva attended the rally. Archana Solanki captures the key highlights of the 134-day-long yatra from Kanyakumari to Kashmir.
134 days, 75 districts, 12 states, 2 union territories, around 4,000 kilometers. Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra has concluded. A pan-India foot march that commenced in Kanyakumari last year concluded in Kashmir with a rally and unfurling of the tricolour at Srinagar's Lal Chowk. Rahul Gandhi headlined the march and covered Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra, Haryana, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir. According to reports, he addressed 12 public meetings and held 13 press conferences.
जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों ने मुझे हैंड ग्रेनेड नहीं दिया, अपने दिल खोल कर प्यार दिया, गले लगे। और मुझे बहुत खुशी हुई कि उन्होंने, उन सब ने मुझे अपना माना और प्यार से, बच्चों ने, बुजुर्गों ने आंसुओं से मेरा यहाँ स्वागत किया।
According to the Congress party, the objective of this yatra was to establish mass contact with people and spread the message of unity and love ahead of the crucial 2024 general elections. The party raised the issue of polarization, unemployment and farmers' crisis.
यात्रा का लक्ष्य भारत को एक करने का था, जोड़ने का था। जो नफरत फैलाई जा रही है, हिंसा फैलाई जा रही है, उसके खिलाफ हमने यात्रा की और जबरदस्त रिस्पांस मिला है।
आपकी इस यात्रा में भारत जोड़ने वाले नहीं, भारत तोड़ने वाले ज्यादा दिखे। जगह जगह पर वो लोग इसमें शामिल हुए जिन्होंने भारत को तोड़ने का काम किसी न किसी रूप में किया हो। जवाब आपको ये देना चाहिए कि आखिरकार ऐसी सोच के साथ और ऐसे तोड़ने वाले लोगों के साथ कांग्रेस पार्टी क्या करना चाहती है, जो देश को बदनाम करते हैं, उनके साथ क्या करने वाली है।
Lakhs of people are likely to have joined this yatra, including many celebrities and former government servants. Some famous names include former RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan, former Army Chief Deepak Kapoor, former Raw Chief A.S. Dulat, actor and politician Kamal Hassan, boxer Vijendra Singh, hip-hop artist Divine and many others. In Mumbai, Archana Solanki for CNBC-TV18.
Well, that is the culmination of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. And before we go, Shah Rukh Khan is back and back with a bang in his first full-fledged role after a hiatus 4 years. Pathaan, which released last Wednesday, has smashed box office records and raked in over 500 crore rupees worldwide in just 5 days. The lead cast and the director of the film met the press after the film's stellar success. We get you memorable moments from that.
Really do believe the backbone of Pathaan as a character, as an actor and essaying that role. The best thing in Pathaan is Jim, played by John.
Like, we all say Shah Rukh today is, I don't think he's an actor anymore, he's an emotion.
क्या बात है, बिल्कुल सही.
You still, the chemistry is still so palpable, but our characters were so different.